Everybody, and happy Mardi Gras. Today we're going to make the easiest possible white beans to celebrate Mardi Gras that you could possibly ever make. And that's a big statement, but I really mean it. So wherever you are, I know the weather is like crazy town all over the world. So tell me hello, let me know where you are, what the weather's like. It was super rainy here and cold, like I was cold. I had all the layers on yesterday, and we just started a walk right before this, and it said it was 50, but it felt like it was 40, but now it's 50 again, for real, so yay. And I may not be, let me see, there's one thing I think I forgot to do, is to turn on the place where I see all your comments. Okay, I should be seeing your comments now. And let's see, I'm just going to test it and say hi. There we go. I'm seeing some comments now. Excellent. So, and Linda says it's 20 degrees here, but feels like -7. I think Joanne said something, but it didn't come up here to me. So if you wouldn't mind telling me one more time, I apologize, it was my mistake. So anyhow, I found that I had some leftover Mardi Gras beads. These are the last ones I saved for taking pictures. So, and for those of you who would like to celebrate Mardi Gras and wish you could go to the parades, there are no parades this year, but you can go look online, and people are decorating their houses like Mardi Gras floats. There should be some really cool stuff to see. But it's purple, green, and gold are the colors, which is really fun. Oh, yay, and someone's from Cleveland, Ohio. It's freezing. Facebook users, if you're on Facebook and in a group, I probably can't see your name, so you might need to type it out, and I will greet you personally. Yeah, and so Mardi Gras is all super fun. So I'm even going to do, like, sometimes people call this Pancake Day. It's really the day before Lent, which is a Catholic thing. And so if you're a practicing Catholic, you already know that. If you're not, one of the reasons that Mardi Gras happens is there's like this big, let's get it all in before we give it all up. And that's why they call it Fat Tuesday. So there's usually lots of fat and pancakes and buttery things and sweets and lots of things like that. What we're making is New Orleans Cajun-Style white beans, but it's still super healthy and super easy. Okay, now I'm seeing all my comments. Joanne says it's 76 degrees, which sounds lovely in Florida. And I can see Cheryl's comment, and Cynthia is from California, so I hope it is beautiful there. And yay, I'm happy you're here with me too. And Gina says, I'm so glad you're back. And yes, I have been not on a good live schedule, so I'm working towards that. So I'm hoping to go live at least once a week, maybe even twice a week. So this Tuesday at 1 o'clock, which is my old slot, seems like maybe that's what I should just go ahead and do. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say next Tuesday at 1, without checking my calendar, I will probably be live. All right, I see lots of people are here. So who is used to celebrating? Joanne says it's a clean out the pantry day, Shrove Tuesday. Exactly. So you hear it called a lot of different things. And what's kind of funny to me is Pancake Day. So actually, I'm going to do another live today, probably around dinner time. It's either going to be right after this, but probably 5:30-ish, 4:30-ish on Instagram. So if you're not following me there, it's Kathy Hester Cooks. And I'm going to make some blender pancakes that are SOS compliant, as well as these guys. So I'm also going to be putting up a short video on this where I make the same thing in a slow cooker. The same thing, easy Cajun-style white beans. So in there, I'm using 2 cans of beans. Now, I have a Great Northern can of beans and a Cannellini can of beans. You could use either. I'm only going to use 1 can of beans today. So I'm going to make it for 2. And it's ridiculously, yay! Helena's here, and northwestern Ohio, a foot plus of snow. Oh my goodness, and someone's up in Vermont. It's snowing cold, but it should be. I like that attitude. You know, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take this can of beans, aquafaba and all. Now, I do find that the cannellini beans, like this, are going to be a little thicker, and I might even have to go pop over and get some water for these. Some, like navy beans, are going to be a little more liquidy, but we're just going to go ahead and plop this in. And if you want something that's not quite this simple and easy, I also have a red beans and rice recipe that uses canned kidney beans. And if you don't have canned kidney beans, I'm going to go ahead and turn these on a little bit. Probably about medium heat for right now. And while I am scavenging, I think I will go ahead and get some water to have handy. It's always good to have a little water at the ready. So I'm just going over here from my filtered faucet to grab about a cup of water. And so we're not sauteing anything. That's why I said super quick and easy. Oh, I'm gonna out you, Jessica. I'm glad that you're here. And yeah, Joanne says the pancakes were a way to get rid of dairy, butter, and fats. And Mar, Ohio, Akron, Ohio. Oops, I sort of told. And you can see some of this now. So I have a little water, and I've got what I wrote down. So I'm using some dry bouillon for a flavor in this. And you guys, there's a short that I posted all over everywhere. I'm getting ready to make a post on it too. So it's basically spices and nutritional yeast. So I'm using about a tablespoon of that, which was just what I had. So maybe there'll be another video with me making dry bouillon pretty soon. We're gonna go ahead and do about a half a teaspoon of paprika, because I'm doing half a recipe. And why I wanted to give you this recipe was we're also going to do half a teaspoon of Cajun spice blend. And there's been a video about that I put up. Is that if you weren't thinking about celebrating Mardi Gras, you can. Like literally, this is kind of ridiculous. We're going to put a quarter teaspoon of marjoram, and in the short video and or when I come back, I'll put the exact measurements for this. We're going to do half a teaspoon of oregano, and we're going to do, or it's a quarter teaspoon now, I'm translating in my head, some garlic powder and some onion powder. So basically what we're doing, we could have sauteed onions and garlic for this, and you can too. It's totally up to you. Okay, let me get this overhead so you can kind of see. And you see how there's enough water in here. The thing about New Orleans beans is they are a kind of southern bean, so they're creamy. And again, we could have used these great northern beans, or we could have used a can of navy beans, any kind of white beans. And what we're doing is we're kind of making what you can buy in New Orleans in a can called blue runner beans. But they are full of salt and fat, like really full of it. It's made with cottonseed oil as well, which is one of the dirtiest ones, the dirtiest oils that you can use. So we're going to take, since we're not using fat to make this creamy, we're going to mash some of the beans. Not all the beans. And we'll start with some, and then we'll see if we need to do any more. Usually I just kind of go around the edge. Okay. And then we'll mix it in until it looks like it's kind of making a sauce. Yeah, and Joanne says these short videos that I'm talking about are really short. So Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts are all under a minute. I only have 30 seconds on Reels. So I'm trying to do them really quick. See, I think it could be a little bit more creamy. I don't feel like we're going to feel like we don't have any whole beans in there if I do a little bit more. That's how I'm making this decision. This may end up being, unless you guys have a lot of questions, might be a really short video because this is truly one of the quickest dinners you can make. And we could do the same thing with kidney beans to make red beans. My red bean recipe that you can get over on healthyslowcooking.com, see how they're starting to look really creamy? And it looks like they cooked a long time. And that's just from mashing some of the beans. I'm going to add just a little bit of water in there because I think we're going to talk a little bit more. I could have served it probably about there. And then depending on your beans, you may have some salt already in that aquafaba. So if you're on a no salt diet, you should be getting no salt canned beans, okay? Or rinse them, but so you wouldn't really be able to use the aquafaba. So I'm going to taste this and see about how salty I think it is, and I'm going to turn it down. Yeah, it totally tastes like it has some salt in there to me, so I don't think I need any salt, but you might choose that you want some more salt. And we did eat these over rice last week, so I made these last week and made the short video that I'm still editing that after I get off of this. So the video you will see will be a little different, and I'll talk to you about doing it in the slow cooker too. But can you guys see that? It's just so creamy. And that's one of the beautiful, beautiful things. Oh, Amber, thank you so much. She's loving my cookbooks. And you guys, don't forget, if you want, I have some of the cookbooks, not all of them, because I have 10 cookbooks I've written. But a lot of them you can get over on virtualvegfest.com. And then I can sign it and send it to you. So if you want a book, I'd love to sign it to you. So please go over there. And Helene might even put in that URL to make it easier for you, because she runs virtualvegfest.com. She also runs a lot of our veg fests, our local veg fests and out of the area veg fests. Oh yeah, this would be so good with dirty rice. And I have a recipe for dirty rice too. So I'll see if I can't put that up later too, because I've got a lot of different Cajun and Creole recipes. So all we're doing is we've taken a can of beans. We have added spices. So if you didn't have dry bouillon, you could use a bouillon cube, and you could use one of my bouillon cubes, and you can get that recipe at plantbasedinstantpot.com or healthyslowcooking.com. And it's just where you cook an onion, carrots, celery, and some thyme. Take the thyme stems out, puree it with some nutritional yeast, and then put it in ice cube trays. Then put them in a Ziploc. And so each one is about an average ice cube tray. And a cube is 2 tablespoons. And that's what I use instead of the tiny little salt-laden cubes. And if you prefer to have salt in your bouillon, you could put your salt in there. Same thing with the dry bouillon. But the reason I don't like to do that, or like my Cajun spice blend too, is not salted. A is so if you're on a salt-free diet, you don't have to feel left out. B, I want to be able to add as much flavor as I need to until it's done. I don't want to have to stop my flavor here because now it's salted enough. So I can't add any more of my salt Cajun spice blend or my salted bouillon. It could take it a little bit over the top. So that's, even if you don't personally eat salt-free, I do highly recommend, if you have relatives or other people, or just people who have different salt levels than you, you can always put salt on the table. So a lot of times I'll make things low salt or no salt, And then if I have people over, they can just add what they want. And I'm not dictating to them what they should like. I want them to really just enjoy themselves. Okay. Oh, thank you. And Amber's saying the staple sections of my books are money savers, which they're supposed to be. The bouillon recipe, the wet bouillon, is the very first recipe that I developed for the vegan slow cooker, because I knew if I bought Better Than Bouillon, I would spend my entire advance on Better Than Bouillon because it's expensive. It's delicious. It has some things some people are avoiding. I usually keep some on hand for an emergency because it lasts for so long. But it's just cheaper and it tastes great. And so like my bouillon, you can put in anything. You can put it in beans. You could put it in a stew, a soup. If you're doing a vegetable stir fry, sometimes I'll either, if I'm doing like a Chinese stir fry kind of thing, I'll put a vegetable bouillon or some nutritional yeast in to kind of give it that extra little umami boost. And that's a really great way to do, just to add a little extra flavor. Okay, and Joanne would like my recipe for dirty rice. I am pretty sure it's in a class too, that we did the red beans and dirty rice in the Instant Pot layered class. So I'll go back and check that too. It's definitely in gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot. And in fact, excuse me a moment, I'll go, I am so sure that I'm gonna come over here and look. And this is the latest cookbook. I'll let you guys see that. Yeah. And don't be scared that it says gluten-free, because it's, you know, it's not scary gluten-free. So all of my books have gluten-free options. So where this says gluten-free blend, baking blend, you could put whole wheat flour. Where it says gluten-free pasta, you could use whole wheat pasta. But most of the things that I make are more whole grain, whole food, plant-based. So it's more whole grains, beans, vegetables, tofu, things like that. And there's always substitutes for tofu as well. I'm trying to see, there we go, yeah, 126. New Orleans style red beans with dirty brown rice. So I'm 126. So if you have this book, and I'll show you, oh, you guys can't see that hardly at all, can you? This should be a little bit better. Okay, and so the dirty rice has, let's see which one this one is. I've made many recipes for dirty rice. I have one that I use mushrooms for, so I'm suspecting that's what this one is too. Yep. So I'm using like minced mushrooms and things like that to go in there. So it's mostly just a spiced up, more umami rice. And that's on page 126, Joanne. So that might be the easiest place for you to find it. Excellent. And Joanne loves the fact I don't put salt in. I just, you know, here's the thing. Life is hard. Let's be inclusive when we can. Let's, you know, people don't just go, I'm not eating salt because I want to feel morally superior. People aren't eating salt because they can't, or their doctors told them they can't for their health, you know, so there's some things going on there. So I think that doing things that are no salt or having these options, or because if all of you guys were coming to my house and eating at my table, I would take into consideration if you couldn't have soy or if you were allergic to gluten or all of these other things. And I want that to show, because you can always add those things in. If you wanted to put cottonseed oil in these beans, I'm not sure why you'd want to, but you could, right? It would be your choice. So there's a base recipe. The seasonings to me are what's important, because literally, this is a can of beans, y'all. A can of beans with some spices. That's it. But doesn't that look so completely different from the beans that we started out with, right? It's kind of mind-blowing that you can take something as simple as a can of beans. And I also was thinking about this because I know my friends in Texas, You guys are having rolling blackouts. You had some power outages. There's a lot of weather going on in the United States. And honestly, if you have power or if you have, you know, a grill outside and a can of beans, you can make this. And so it's as much emergency food as it is treaty Mardi Gras food, because it's the flavors that blend together so much. And Joni's saying, where can I buy that book? And Helene, can you remind me? I think gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot is on Virtual Veg Fest. And oh, and hello, Facebook user. Hope you have service for much, much longer. Oh, Cynthia likes them. Yeah, they're just like, there's something awesome about these creamy southern beans. And creaminess often came from, in the past, fat. Like the pinto beans I grew up on had pork fat in them, or fat back. You know, there's different kinds of fats that they usually put in red beans, and it could be lard. And if you just mush up the beans, like this doesn't look like refried beans. I mean, it still looks just like a beans in this really thick, yummy sauce, which I think is really pretty awesome. And Amber said she got her book through Virtual Veg Fest. So I think, Joni, I do think that that book is still at Virtual Veg Fest. Yes, excellent. Helene came in at the last minute. So you can, oh, and Jackie is here. That's Facebook user. Yay. So it was Jackie I was actually talking about that lost her power. And the gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot is available on virtualvegfest.com. You can also get these books on Amazon. So it's up to you. But what happens if you get them from Virtual Veg Fest is I sign them. And if you want to shoot me an email at kathyhester@gmail.com, I can sign something special for you, or if you want to give it as a gift. So that's all. Okay, awesome. And Marilyn is here, and it's 16 degrees in Louisiana. That's really cold. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow flurries, and you have electricity. Thank goodness. I'm so glad. And Jackie says the white beans look really good. Helene put the full URL so you can go straight to get the gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot. And wants to remind us that when you buy through Virtual Veg Fest, it helps the nonprofit as well, which is super awesome because Helene isn't able to have her in-person Veg Fests right now, really. And so one of the things too, I know a lot of you guys are catching her over on Virtual Veg Fest, the Facebook group. And Helene, if you want to pop that up there so people can follow, that would be lovely. And she goes live several times a week with interviews about cool stuff, sometimes even with me. So you guys hear about it when it's me. I know, and Joanne and all of us say that's crazy, and stay warm, Marilyn. We'll be definitely thinking about you. And Joni's going to go through the Veg Fest site. That's awesome. Do you guys have anything planned for Mardi Gras? Do you usually celebrate Mardi Gras or Lundi Gras or any of that? I did, on Saturday, I did a big Cajun cooking class. So we made black-eyed pea jambalaya, which you could still make for tonight, and you can get that recipe on healthyslowcooking.com. When you go to the blogs, either up at the top or over to the side, there's a little magnifying glass, so you could just type in jambalaya or black-eyed peas, and you can find these recipes on, you know, on which site I'm telling you they're on. If you go to plantbasedinstantpot.com, there's a mushroom gumbo recipe that you can make that's really easy and delicious. You make an oil-free roux using oat flour. And there's also the cauliflower po' boy recipe is on Healthy Slow Cooking. And that is my version of a shrimp po' boy, just because if you get some of the stems of the cauliflower, it gives the mouthfeel, that's kind of solid feel that shrimp used to, that at least my memory of shrimp was like. And so here, and Helene's saying she usually goes on Thursdays and Saturdays at 4 on Virtual Veg Fest. Oh no. I think this is Jackie. Jackie said it was -3 this morning. That's a lot. But what's kind of funny is, so dinner would be done. You just serve this over rice. You could serve it over quinoa. You could eat it in a bowl just the way it is. You could fry up like some tofurkey andouille sausage, if you can eat gluten, would go really well with it. In the ultimate vegan cookbook for your Instant Pot, I actually make homemade vegan andouille sausage with wheat gluten. So that's something else. So I lived in New Orleans for 12 years, so I kind of have a taste for the food and the culture. And it took a long time to get used to not having Mardi Gras off. It just felt really weird, like, why am I working in Mardi Gras? Because, like, food service works, but that's about it. Everybody else is just, all the offices closed and you just enjoy. It'll be interesting to hear about what people did today with things being so shut down. Aha, Marilyn says, I already have red beans cooked and in the fridge. Of course you do. And Joanne loved the class. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it took us a little while to get the class up, but Cheryl separated it into individual recipes, pretty much. So that made it a little bit easier. And if you guys want to take that class or any of my other classes, you can go to kathyhester.podia, podia.com. And I would love to have you join Kathy's Cooking Club. You get 2 cooking classes a month. It's $50 a month. One cooking class usually costs $35, so you save $20 and you just are magically auto-enrolled in the upcoming classes, and you can cancel through your dashboard on Podia anytime you want. So as long as you cancel before it charges you for the next one, then so there's no like tricky stuff going on in there. But if you don't cancel, it will recharge you. But you could go in and just do that for 2 classes, for 1 month if you wanted to, or continue as long as you wanted to keep going. Oh, awesome. Joni says she's in Nashville and they are iced in. Well, that is not awesome. But she has all the ingredients for these beans. And I think that's the thing is, and if you want to make this for more than 2 people, it'll be 2 cans of beans, white beans of any kind. You could also use kidney beans if you wanted to. And then we pretty much used some dry bouillon. We could have used wet bouillon. There was paprika, marjoram, Cajun spice, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder. You could add salt if you want to taste, or pepper to taste. I'm not adding any salt because the beans were not no salt. So in using the aquafaba that came with them, they salted themselves. This is like the easiest dinner possible. And so hopefully you don't have to go and get any ingredients. Now, if you happen to have like some onions and garlic and bell peppers, if you go to healthyslowcooking.com, I have a red bean recipe that's made really pretty similarly. Woo! That's a hard word today. Similarly. All right. Except for you saute the onions till they become translucent, then you add some garlic, and then you add some bell peppers. So it's a little more vegetable-y. And you could even put in some shredded carrots. You could, if you wanted to just get crazy, you could even like saute some cruciferous crunch and serve this over that too, and just kind of warm it all up. So there's so many different ways you could do this. So if you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to sign off. Do go and follow me on Instagram at Kathy Hester Cooks. And at some point today, before 6 o'clock, I will be making pancakes in a blender. So there, with oats. And I'm going to be using dates too. Absolutely. And Joanne's saying easy peasy, and make the rice in your Instant Pot or your rice cooker. And that's what I do. Or sometimes I'll batch cook rice for the week, and then we just take it out and heat it up as we go along. So there have been times, actually, when and I did say I was going to tell you. So the short video that's going to go out, I did the similar thing, but I put 2 cans with aquafaba and all into my slow cooker. I added my spices, I mashed some of the beans and mixed it up, and then I cooked it on high for about 4 hours, and that reduced it a little bit. If your slow cooker is an older slow cooker, you might still need to cook it a little bit longer. You could, if it's too watery, you could just stick like a wooden spoon in between the lid and the pot on one side so it kind of lifts it up, and then you can like get rid of that liquid. But honestly, I did it last week because I knew I wasn't going to have any time to cook, but I could make this and throw it in the slow cooker and be done with it. You could make this in the Instant Pot, but it's kind of silly to do that since you're going to want to make it really thick, and we're not going to get that kind of thickness with the Instant Pot. Oh, I'm so glad you found us too. It's a wonderful group of people. If you guys are new and haven't seen me before, be sure to join my private Facebook group, Vegan Recipes, Cooking with Kathy Hester. And I have a YouTube channel you can find by looking up Kathy Hester. You can find me on Instagram at Kathy Hester Cooks. And I think on TikTok, I'm trying TikTok. I think it's Vegan Cooking with Kathy, but I'm not positive. But I think if you start there, you'll find it. But these short vertical videos are going on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as shorts instead of the longer live formats that I usually do. Absolutely. So the Instagram account is Kathy, Kathy, Hester, Hester, Cooks. Kathy Hester Cooks. I know. And actually, here's the thing. So I tested these pancakes, and that's what we ate this morning. But I made little ones, so I think I'm going to make them again. Basically, they're like kind of banana caramel pancakes. They're banana date pancakes that I made just enough for us to have. It could either be like one large pancake or two really, smallish, medium-ish. It's hard for me to know, like other than silver dollars versus pancakes, which is very clear, pancakes at the restaurant seem to be becoming larger and larger. So to me, that's still kind of a smallish pancake. But it was super easy and just doing it in the blender, and I thought at least I could cook one up. And then it's with things that you probably have in your pantry. It does use a banana, but I have some ideas for some options where you could skip the banana too. So stay tuned. Yeah, Pancake Day. Oh, and Amber found me through Chef AJ. Chef AJ is such an angel to me. I just really, really love her too. She's awesome. Yeah, I'm getting better about sharing the TikToks to Facebook. TikTok was something I wasn't sure I was going to do, but it's all kind of worked out okay. Hey, Bonnie, welcome. Hopefully you didn't. If you're just coming on and you missed most of the beginning, we made a very simple dish that there's going to be a replay, but basically we turned a can of beans into this with just some spices and a little cooking. So anyhow, happy Mardi Gras. Even though I don't really do Lent, from living in New Orleans, it didn't matter if you were Catholic or not, everybody gave up something. And so if there's something you've been trying to just distance yourself from, perhaps sugar would be mine, then maybe now's a good time to make up some food rules for the next few weeks and see if you can kind of do something better. And don't just necessarily eliminate something or something like that. And I'm not trying to put anything on you. If you're happy where you are, then stay where you are. But if there's a change you've been kind of wanting to make, in New Orleans, Lent was kind of like second New Year, and that you kind of felt like, okay, here's a chance for a fresh start. And maybe that Lent might be that you make dinner from scratch. If you could call this from scratch, it's sort of scratch cooking, right? Or take a walk every day, or meditate, or I don't know. You tell me. I would love to know in the comments if there's something you're trying to improve and maybe what your plan is for that, and if you're doing that now, or if you're just continuing doing what you've been doing since the beginning of the year that's working for you. Yay. Okay. Amber knows what she's going to cook. Joanne says happy Mardi Gras to everybody. And I'm saying happy Mardi Gras to all of you guys. And I'll see you later today over on Instagram.